Hello, welcome or welcome back. I'm so glad you're here today. My name is Vix and this is my channel, Goddess of Gore, where I like to talk about horror, thriller, fantasy and sci-fi books. Today I want to tell you all about the books that I finished during the last 2 weeks. It's been another hit and miss, rubbishy old time over here with the books. In the words of Queen Victoria herself, one is not amused. The first book I finished was Andrzej Sapkowski's The Tower of the Swallow. This was tremendous and captivated me from the start to the finish. One of the aspects I really appreciated was the focus on smaller groups of characters, and somehow this made the story more manageable and engaging. In this instalment we get to meet an old hermit named byebye who discovers Ciri badly injured. With his unusual for a mad old hermit, he had these advanced medical skills and knowledge. He tended to her wounds, putting her face back together with such dexterity and skill. And as she begins to recover, they start a friendship. After initial hatred, of course. Their conversation that unravels their pasts and fills in the gaps left by the previous book as to what Ciri has been up to get her to this point, and more importantly, who has smashed her face up so badly that it will leave her with an appearance-altering scar. We also get the point of view of the other main characters as the story unfolds. Geralt and Dandelion, Triss and Yennefer all have their moments, shedding light on their own experiences since we last encountered them. Unfortunately, Yennefer does endure a terrible time being tortured by people who are desperate to find Ciri. While the book is wonderfully written and captivating, it does not shy away from depicting dark and unpleasant themes. Some wonderfully terrible characters and disturbing scenes are played out where the adults prey on young children, and children are forced to engage in gladiator-style fights while the nobility places bets on their lives. This has become one of my favourites in the Witcher series, ranking close to the Blood of Elves, and this shows the skill of Andrzej that really impressed me. The ability to write such amazing, wonderful character dynamics and give an engaging storyline that, yes, doesn't always work for me book after book, but it's such a huge book series that it can't be winner after winner, can it? The last book I picked up from my July TBR was Scorch Grace by Margot Douaihy. This came out in April. The premise of this, okay, it really intrigued me, and every time I try to describe it, I can't make it sound anything but really, really good. A heavily tattooed, gay, chain-smoking ex-guitarist, sweary old nun is going around trying to find out who is setting fires in New Orleans. How could this be anything but hilariously perfect, like Jessica Fletcher and Dolores Van Cartier rolled up into one perfect package, and it should have been a 5-star read. Unfortunately, 2 things let this book down for me: pacing and the characters. The pacing was very, very slow until it seemed like the author was like, feck it, I've really got to finish this book, and kind of struggled to find footing towards the conclusion. And then there were just too many character meetups in the book. Like, you don't need to put everyone's sister Holiday has ever met in her whole life in this book. Pace yourself. Too much character building. I think this could have been cut down to maybe 200 pages, and this would have told the exact same story, had all the same feels, but not felt excessively filled to me. But I am not put off by more Sister Holiday mysteries either, though. There is kind of a premise of a sort of Private Eye collab at the end of the book, and I would completely read that. So the story is that this nun, who just happens to have a unique background as a former punk musician and survivor of a family tragedy, works at a Catholic school as the music teacher. Her school is the target of an arson attack, and it would seem that someone is trying to frame her for the crime that also killed the janitor and badly injured 2 pupils. Her determination to solve the crime, despite lacking any experience, set the stage for what could be a wonderful story for someone with maybe a little bit more patience than me. So I started my August TBR, and the first book title I pulled out was a book from my random cottagecore list, Spindles End by Mckinley, and you wonder why I didn't read very much this week. Oh my god, this book was so dull with a capital D. I'm beginning to question my entire cottagecore thing now. I mean, I didn't want to read trash for Garb August because I thought I would get slumpy, but here I am, reading crap. This was a very bad choice for me. I didn't know if this book was taking the piss out of itself or what. Was it trying to be ironic? I don't know. But when a character's name is Princess Castor, Albina, Allegra, Dove, Minerva, Fidelia, Aletta, Blythe, Domina, Delicia, Aurelia, Grace, Isabel, Griselda, Gwyneth, Pearl, Ruby, Coral, Lily, Iris, Brer Rose, just how seriously are you supposed to take it? This is a Sleeping Beauty inspired book. As I said, I wasn't actually sure if this was supposed to be a parody of the fairy tale or not, but there's some parts in this book that are so hilarious that it just has to be. I was amazed just how long this book actually was. It was overly long, I thought, and I would pick it up and just think to myself, I'm going to DNF it. I'm going to DNF it. Yes, today's the day. I'm definitely DNFing this book. But it had such loving reviews. I would give it one more chapter, one more paragraph, one more sentence, and this went on and on and on and on and on until basically I finished it. So what's it about? Well, very much like Sleeping Beauty, a wicked fairy places a curse on a princess on her name day. A curse that says when she is 21 she will prick her finger on a spindle and fall into a deadly sleep. As such, the princess is taken away from her family to live in isolation with a young fairy. I wasn't feeling this book at all. Even the talking animals didn't pull me in. It was a bad start to the TBR, and I am hoping this isn't a prediction of how the rest of the month is going to go. Next was Small Gods by Terry Pratchett. This is from July's Around the Disc book choice. The novel tells the story of one of the Discworld's many small gods who is accidentally manifested into the body of a tortoise. He then finds a prophet in the form of Brother, a young man who is trained to be a priest in the Omnian religion. Uses Brother, who is the only person who can hear him, to go out and spread the word of Om's message of peace and love. But they face opposition from the corrupt and powerful Church of Omnia. These guys over the years have twisted and changed Om's original preachings to suit themselves. Although I wasn't particularly taken with this book, what I did enjoy was the satirical look at the religion in the usual humour of Pratchett, the way it shows the corruption in big religion through humour, the naivety of Brother following the religious text to the letter until he has the chance to hear from Om himself, and Om saying, I didn't say that, I didn't make those commandments, I didn't do that miracle. Yes for the humour, no for the plot. And then more cottagecore with The House in the Dark of the Woods by Laird Hunt. This is written in a wonderful vintage style way. A strange, not quite creepy, more unsettling story. This was more of what I expected or wanted to read for the cottagecore theme of the month. Unsettling foresty styles, foreboding strangers you meet in the woods, that sort of atmosphere. The writing in this book is absolutely amazing. It's written like you would expect people to talk in the 19th century. It was very atmospheric and so rich in dark fairy tale ambience with a mild sense of dread through the periphery. I loved it. It's very autumnal in its vibe too. I think it was just teetering on the speculative. Like, there's some weird occurrences and happenings that I would associate more with Catherine Valente, and I always think that she teeters on that brink too. So this is about a woman who goes out to the forest alone, leaving her husband and son in their cottage as she goes to pick blueberries. It's just her and her berry basket in the dark woods until she starts to meet other women. As she gets more and more lost, she asks each of the women to show her the way back to her cottage, but they send her further and further away. And as she travels, we get to know about her life with her husband and her son. It's a tiny little book, and I loved it. So anyway, that's everything that's been going on with my books so far this month. I do hope that yours is going a little better than mine. Surely it can't be going any worse, eh? Let me know in the comments if you're having a disastrous start to the month too. We can feel our pains together, or maybe you'd like to feel rather smug that yours is going absolutely spiffingly, and maybe restore my faith in books once again. Don't forget to like this video if you did, and subscribe if you haven't already, of course, and you'd like to stick around for a little longer. But otherwise, thank you so much for being here with me today. I really appreciate that you would give up your spare time to be right here. I will leave you, as I always do, with a favourite quote from one of the books I read last week. I thought of you often when I was away. I thought of you while I was in the water. I thought of you while I was in the sky. I thought of you when I sat in a cellar. I thought of you when I didn't die. Make some good book choices this week, my friends, and I hope to see you all again soon. Until next time, bye-bye.